Benny, how's it going, mate?
Hello and welcome to 2OFFTHE1ST. This is Ben Kennedy and I'm with Reese Velios and we're going to talk about Waco. We're going to talk about Sizzler. We're going to talk to Blake Houston. We're going to talk about a little bit of sandbagging here and we've got my special game at the end. What's happening, Reese?
Oh, bro, you do that way better than I do. You're so much better at that than I am. We're going to get you to do the intro every single time now.
Damn it. Why did I sign up for this?
All right, people, just so you know, comments are live. If you comment, YouTube, Facebook, wherever you're on, we can see it on the screen. So if you've got anything to say to us, some trash talking, you're more than welcome to put it on there. Go for it. Now, Benny, let us know what we're talking about tonight. So what do you want to hit us off with first?
Well, I think we'll touch base on Sizzler first. We'll get the results up. We'll have a little chat to our winner soon. But who better to talk about the Sizzler than the winner, actually? Did you look at the results of the Sizzler, the major?
I did, because I just chucked in all the results for you last second on the screen. I'll bring one of them up. I'll bring them up. All right, you ready?
Yeah.
Let's see. Okay, I got it. Here we go.
Okay, so taking out was Blake Houston. Second, Luke Bain, Austin D'Alessandro, Dave Perry, Elias Lind, Tim Bowen, Dan Frost, Leo Dykes, and Zach James for the cash line.
Man, there's only three. There's only not many strokes in it between the last players. The last three there. So
yeah,
that must have been close. I mean, we're going to talk to winners soon. But it'd be nice to know what the course was like and if it was attackable, because 6 down and 3. I mean, it's not a huge amount of score there. So I would like to know, like 6. I mean, 6. You got the 18 there. So I'm assuming that's probably what the rough score is for that course. But yeah.
So well, let's just get straight to it and invite the big fella on.
All right, what's this one? What have I got here? This is for Waco.
Yeah, this is for later on.
Okay, it's later on. All right, let's add Blakey into the chat. Here we go.
How you going, Blake?
Hello, fellas. I'm good. Thanks for having me on.
Yeah, welcome to the show, man. This is episode 3, so you're at the first end of this podcast, and we're still, getting the ropes of it all. But we want to talk about Sizzler and, first of all, congratulations, and tell us a bit about the win. How did it feel?
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, Sizzler. It was my first, big win. With a stacked field, and I guess that was honestly, there's no other way to put it than just amazing. It was huge. Felt quite confident actually coming into it, not necessarily for the win, but just kind of, I'm due for one of these. Let just execute my game and let's take the win. And then fortunate enough to come away with the win, and it was kind of that authority, like, you know what, I can do this, because I've had so many opportunities kind of in the past at these big events where I just kind of didn't finish off all 3 or 4 rounds, whatever it was. So no, it definitely feels amazing to get that big one, and hopefully the first of many.
Yeah, and did you feel like I didn't quite look up where you were round 1, 2, and 3, but did they feel consistent enough for you, or do you actually think you could have pushed the bar higher?
I think it's hard not to come off a tournament and say that you could have played better. There's always those small things like, oh, look, missed a putt there, or that was a silly decision. I think even on the Pro Tour, players can come off. They still have bogeys and to get the job done. And it's like, it could have been better. Anything could be better. But in terms of consistency, yeah, very consistent. 3 rounds of 6 under par. Between...
And was it 1,016 event?
Yeah, 1,016 average.
1,016 rated across your event.
Yeah.
Wow, well done.
Was that the highest you've ever had?
No, I've had 2 higher than that. I've had 1017 and a 1028. 3 higher than that. 1020 and a 1028.
Was that in Australia or?
That was 1028 was Mandalorian last year, so last May.
Yeah, and you won that, didn't you?
Yeah.
So do you think that that 1,000 rated is going to get you the win every time, or do you think it's pushing up now and we're going to be getting like higher 1,000s more often now to get the win?
Actually, I'm glad you raised that, because I think nowadays, obviously, the sport's growing, but the competition is too. So maybe a few years ago, those 1,000 rated tournaments, if you were to shoot 1,000, you'd almost guarantee to win. Whereas now if you want to win these big tournaments, you have to be shooting over 1,000. I think minimum as a benchmark, if you want to have a chance, it has to be about 1,005. But it's really good though, because it encourages a lot more players to kind of, it's a mark to chase after that, and it's good that we're sitting around the 1,000 mark. So, like for these tournament wins, so you get over 1,000, and that's when you start to get into contention. And I think the 1,000 is actually a really good mark for our competitive MPO in Australia.
And as a part of the rounds, sorry, Reese, I'll get to you in a second. Rounds like 1, 2, and 3, which was the hardest day, as in weather-wise?
Absolutely the third day. First day it was actually a pretty good day. There was a bit of wind. Second round, bit of wind as well. There was rain forecast, that never happened. And then the third day, no one was really expecting it. There was a bit of rain on the radar. Might have, got a couple of mils or whatever. But then out of nowhere, just a massive storm rolled through. Wind and torrential downpour. Some of the tees were flooded. But it was insane. It only hit the back part of MPO, maybe the last, 6 cards of the day. But
Ouch.
That's almost like...
Were you in that?
I was in that because I was the last card. So
that sucks.
Massive downpour. And you notice it in the scores. If you look at the live scores, there's just pars and birdies, there's the odd bogey. And then as soon as it started raining, there's just bogeys, double bogeys, triple bogeys. There's barely any birdies after it started raining.
Your neg 6 on that last round, your neg 6, was a lot of that scored earlier before that then?
Kind of. I think I got to neg 5 before the rain, and then as soon as the rain hit, I decided to rattle off 3 birdies for no reason. And then I guess finished out with a couple of bogeys. But I guess I just happened to play really well in the rain, but I think that was most people's goal, just score before the rain, because we saw it on the radar probably about a quarter of the way through the round. Like, all right, we need to get birdies now and just kind of play for par when the rain hits.
We just got Aldo say last card of the MPO had 4 holes in rain, only went +6 in the last 4.
Yeah.
Yikes. Oh no. So it must have been like you were saying that the tee pads were flooded.
There was one in particular.
Oh,
By
right.
the time the last card got there, it's like a little bit of a downhill tee pad, and there's a bit kind of.
And it's like leaning into it, so it's just pushing onto it.
Yeah, there's just water, so everyone's teeing off from right at the back of the tee pad.
Ouch. I mean, I know Ben brought this up recently, and I know me and you've talked about this in the past, but the ratings in Australia, I mean, I know we're going in the right direction, and I'm hoping we're getting there a little bit quicker. But it's quite obvious that say the top 5 or even the top 10 of the MPO in Australia are probably playing better than the ratings they are, but it's hard for everyone to get better ratings unless some people go outside, get a better rating, come back, bring it over to Australia, and then slowly progress. Are you slowly seeing that rating change? And this one's a awkward question, but what do you, if you were to go play, say, on an American circuit with 150 player field right now, what do you think your rounds, like say even this Sizzler round, what do you think that would actually be there in comparison?
It's definitely an interesting one. So yeah, like you said, in Australia, we are getting these high-rated players now, and yeah, I mean, there's, I guess, the top players in Australia that they've kind of defined themselves. Those ones who are now consistently getting 1,000 rated rounds. But yeah, the growth in ratings, we're definitely seeing that, because 5-10 years ago, well, we maxed out at 1,000. Paddy hit 1,000, then dropped back down to like 980. Yep. So, and there were heaps around like the 960, but now that we actually have these players that are like 1,000 rated, you're able to bounce off them. So if your scores are matching them, that's how you get those.
That's what I'm thinking, right? Yeah.
So yeah, definitely in the US, I didn't notice it as much because when I went to the US, I played amateur and junior worlds, and you don't have those players.
That's what I thought, right? So you're not getting that.
It's a bit different. If anything, ratings are worse. So, but when, say, on the Pro Tour, I feel like because you have so many players that are, I guess, over 1,010 rated, if you can just even be close to keeping up, that's when you're going to get those higher rated rounds. So I definitely think if you're going somewhere else to play high level disc golf and coming back, you'll notice a decent difference. I'd say around 15 to 20 rating points a round.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking, right? So like if we were to get like a huge group of the 100 players and then just slot them into the Sizzler that you played at, like I mean, you can probably comment more, but like I wouldn't see that they'd be doubling or tripling your score. So there's a huge chunk of them that are probably going to be sitting behind you that are 10, 20 rated. And then there's probably going to be some that are going to be sitting above you, but it would be pushing your round rating to like, say 1030 rather than say 1015, if that makes sense. Yeah. And that's just a part of where we are in the sport here in Australia. It's slowly going to grow, but unless we have either more people from overseas jump in, or we have people go overseas, change their rating and come back, it's just going to take a little bit of time.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. And like you said, like I think if we can improve the quality of our, like, I don't know, what do you want to call it? Like getting overseas people to come over here for Aussie champs and stuff, it's going to help. Like rather than everyone having to go over there to get the ratings, bring them over here and boost our ratings up.
Well, it's clear every time we have someone from the US come, or even Europe come to like our nationals. I mean, you saw it like say 2023 when Andrew Fish was there. Like he was 10, I think it was close 18? to 10, 18 rated. And I mean, we had like quite a few people beat him. So
he got second.
Did he?
Tied second with
Dave Perry. That's right. Yeah. So, I mean, yeah, look, and Aldo says it like if we have something like the Tour Down Under where we get a huge group, you can see that actually happening in New Zealand right now. Their ratings have massively changed. Like, you got Levi sitting on 1025 because he's having the option every year to play with people who are 1040 plus rated. And even if he gets close, which he did, his rating is going to skyrocket quickly. So,
yeah. But let's keep this moving because we got lots to go on the show. Blake, World Games. You've been selected for the World Games. There's on the Friday, the 8th of August, with 16 countries.
along with Cass?
Yeah, along with Cassie Sweeten. So how you feeling about that, mate? Congrats on that too.
Oh, thank you. Obviously, yeah, very excited about that, to have the opportunity to represent the country again. And with Cassie, I mean, that's in Chengdu, China. That's definitely going to be awesome experience. One that I don't know, an interesting one to have on the resume. No, absolutely stoked and can't wait.
And you got like with the recent ones, the world teams, there was a pretty big field of Aussies, but it's just you and Cass. So you guys got to really bounce off each other. And do you know who the manager is yet?
We haven't. We're going through a process of working that out at the moment.
But yeah, you got to keep tight with all that. Are you going to go over as early as you can and suss all that out with Cass, or are you just going to go there and do the usual
Wing
couple
it,
of days before?
Do a Ben.
Yeah. We're working that out as well. We're working out flights when we're getting there, so nothing's kind of locked in. But definitely want to get there early enough to have a look at the course and work things out. I feel like I know Cassie's game quite well. Obviously, that's going to improve as well, and same the other way. And I guess whoever the manager will be, it'll be someone who knows both of our games and has that kind of experience in these kinds of tournaments. So yeah, I think I reckon we might have a pretty strong force over in China.
I definitely think so as well. Do you know more about the reasoning behind? I briefly spoke to Cassie about it, but I haven't got the total info on it about why there's only 2 players this year versus, say, 5 to 10. What's the
like the difference to November when we had the world team?
Yeah, here and there, yeah.
So they're 2 different competitions. So in November we had the World Flying Disc Federation World Team Disc Golf Championships, and that's every 2 years, and that's run by World Flying Disc Federation. Yep. Whereas this is run by the World Games, so it's basically like, I guess you could call it the baby Olympics. It's recognized by the Olympic Committee. It's kind of a branch from the Olympics. And then the governing body internationally for flying disc is WOFFTHE, World Flying Disc Federation.
Okay.
And that's covering ultimate and disc golf.
So it's more Flying Disc Federation being associated versus actually running the show.
Yeah. So the World Games are running it. It's heaps of different sports are being played, not just flying disc sports. So.
Cool. That's actually almost even more interesting because I mean it's you're going there to not just represent your country for one sport. You're there as a group representing your country for a lot of countrymen going over for a lot of sports. So that must feel quite amazing for you to have that feeling.
Oh, absolutely.
So it's going to be a fun watch, and I'm hoping to see some awesome coverage. I'm not too sure what we haven't seen or heard anything about what the coverage will be like, but I hope to see some of that. I think that would be really cool. Especially, I'm assuming it's going to be playing like a doubles or Ambrose format with you and Cassie. It's going to be a little bit different than what we've seen in the past as well, right?
Yeah, I think it's similar format to the tournament in November. Like it's still match play. Everything's match play.
Okay.
But, you have matches with your teammate and then individual, and
Wow, that's gonna be cool. How many days of play is it?
I think it goes to the preliminaries on the 8th, and then I think it goes to the 10th for you guys, not the whole World Games, for disc golf.
Yeah, the whole World Games goes over say 3 weeks or so.
Yeah,
disc golf's just got its own schedule within that.
I'm pretty sure it's 2 days. I looked at it just before.
Yeah.
Cassie's just shared a link to, I'll just put it up again, theworldgames.org. So if anyone wants to check that out.
There's quite a bit of information on all of the World Games websites there. So, yeah.
Wicked. Awesome.
Cool. Well, Blake, since we don't have the big Sasquatch, James Davenport.
We can't find him this time in the bushes. He's lost.
What are you talking about?
Yeah.
Do you want to hang around and chat a bit more disc golf with us?
Sure.
Cool.
All right, Benny, what are we doing now, Benny?
So we're going to move on to America, where Waco just happened. I didn't do my homework, and I watched about 4 holes.
Do you want me to chime in here a bit?
Yeah, I think this is where I just push it over to you guys to have a chin wag and
Okay,
show some clips.
So what I did watch the entire the all 3 rounds, and what I like about Waco, which a lot of those players, a lot of people maybe in the US, or a lot of the players, or the tournament director, or DGPT for some reason don't like to talk about and don't like this, is that the close scoring at Waco, which is, they all call it a little pitch and putt course, which, I mean, to me doesn't seem like a pitch and putt course. But I mean, when you're going into the 3rd round and you've got probably close to, it seemed like, I think it was 17 people within 3 strokes. I think that's what Hammy said. That's insane, because the amount of pressure it puts on you as a player going into those last 3 holes, kind of like what we saw if you were watching on hole 17 on the 3rd round, where we had 3 players almost completely tank out because they went OB and triple OBing, and then Adam Hammers just clean run through the end and just made an easy win, but like, he just didn't go OB. And it was just an insane to watch that as a spectator. And I think that's awesome. However, all the players and all the DGPT are saying, oh, no, Waco this, Waco that. What do you reckon about that, Blake?
I think it's definitely interesting. From a viewer's perspective, absolutely. It's definitely cool to have so many players bunched so close. But I guess from a competitor's perspective, to be honest, it's not something. Yeah, it's not something that I'd like all the time. If I was on the Pro Tour, and I wouldn't mind experiencing that a couple times a year or a couple times in the season. I think it's definitely interesting to see how players act and how much things actually change so quickly when it's like that. But personally, I'm kind of for the score separation harder courses.
Yeah, I think that I agree with what you said, is that it's good to have one of these every now and then on like a Pro Tour like that, just so it changes things up. People can't just go there and play those courses a lot better than everyone else, because everyone's going to play Waco really well. So you got to be on your A game a lot more than everyone else, and you got to make less mistakes than everyone else. It would completely change everything, the way you play that course and the way you play. So, but onto that, there was a lot of controversy, and I just want to bring some of the things up. I've got my screen I want to share with you guys. Let me see if I can do that. So we've got, first of all, we've got this controversial call, which I don't think was controversial. There's a little video here. Like, yo, if it's on the line, it's in. And everyone made it seem like this huge thing. And then they also complained that if he went OB, then Simon would have beat him in the end. But at the end of the day, he was in. He's on the line. So,
but
you're calling that in?
Yeah, I'm calling that in. Aren't you?
Really?
It's got
no way.
Let me go back.
All of the disc has to be surrounded by OB. Yeah.
Well, yes.
And I can see white line in front of the disc. That's all I'm saying.
From my understanding, the line is out of bounds. It has to be touching the inside area of play, and if it's on the line, it's out of bounds.
Okay, so maybe I need to brush up on my PDJ ruling, because the last time I remember, if it's on the line, it's considered in. If that's not the case,
No, I think it's. I think the whole disc has to be swallowed by OB, and I think that line would be like has some part of the disc has to be on the other side. But in saying that, if there's a blade of grass that's inbounds,
well,
it's
that's what we
hanging
see
over.
here. That's what we see here. I think Blake's getting on this. Blake's getting the
I'm having a
PDJ.
look. I'm pretty sure, but it's worth it.
But let's just say you're right, Blake, in this situation, which you probably are. I'm probably wrong. They're going here basically saying that a couple of those blades of grass that weren't painted white are over the top of it, and they're saying that that's in.
There we go. The out of bounds line is considered part of the OB area, meaning
Wow,
if any part of the disc is on or beyond the line, it's OB.
Okay, so that definitely has changed since the last time I read that. That being considered, this, in my eyes, is OB. Like, what blade of grass there is considering that as safe? Like,
I think the blade of grass that's inbounds has to be underneath the disc. Is what that's I don't know if that rule still applies. I think it might be up to the TD.
They need to change the way that the grass, they need to have something else on top or a line or something else that.
But also, if the card come to a decision, then
they did.
What are we talking about here? They made a decision. Move on.
It's true. They made it based on the players. What was it? Discretion or whatever it is. They say. So there wasn't a fair. There was obviously some people saying one thing and some people saying another, and they basically just gave it to the favor of the player, which Adam at the time. If that OB happened and it didn't, Simon Lizotte would have won the tournament. So, which is crazy to think that. Well, I mean, we don't know because, the way Hammers would have played, we might have been played a different rest of the weekend. You don't know. He played a bit safe toward the end, but that being said, if we're just taking this as a stroke, look, at that throws us into the next, which this one was a cool thing because, and I think Iceberg TV, Dylan has put it correctly. I'll just go back a bit. So what happens is Ezra throws it.
Rare forehand from Ezra.
How do you predict that? How do you predict that anti-skip?
That was going OB.
It was 100%. But like if you watch it skip, it doesn't look like it's gonna hit her. It's sort of like flare skips into her.
100%.
Let's watch it again. Because it's meant to be fading in, yeah?
Nah, that was going OB 100%. That would have been in the water, bro. Look at it. Watch it.
Yeah, but look at the bounce.
Watch this.
But then it'll at least like roll in.
Boom.
Yeah.
No, I'm talking about the flare skip. If you're watching that, if you're her and you're watching the disc come in on a hyzer, you think it's going to skip and go that way, but it sort of skips up and then goes into her.
Yeah, it is. It's a tough one to call.
Like what I liked about this, and Dylan brought this up. So I'm trying to do this. So he just lays this up.
There's no intent to go for it there. Hey?
No, he even people like Jack Maffey, which has played with him recently, he does not lay up any of those putts. Like, and everyone on tour have said exactly the same thing. Ezra never lays that up. He's been making those all year. And then in a podcast, I think it was the Tour Life, he actually said that he laid that up, which that's wild. Like
he doesn't want anything on his conscience, which is it means he's a good bloke, really.
Which that changes my. I mean, never really doesn't change my perspective.
It cements it.
It cements like what a guy that is. That's insane because I don't think a lot of people would do that. Like. That would be a hard thing to do. So I think that's just insane. I give it up for him for doing that because I don't think a lot of people would. And I mean, we're going to have a lot of people on his side because of that. I mean, maybe his character is showing him who he is and that's just how it goes. And the guy's going to have a lot of people backing him now. So I think that was insane thing to do. He didn't really good the rest of the weekend though, considering. But that being said, I mean,
he was first at that point though.
He was first. So, we got another person. What person saying, and I mean, I have to cut this. No, whoops, not Blakey. That one. This one. Here we go. So he said in another interview that it didn't laid up, and he just flubbed it. I mean, do you know what interview that was? Because I heard that he actually was laying that up. I mean,
you can see the intent. You can see him going to go for it, and then he goes, "Oh no!"
Just goes, "Nah, just throw it under."
Yeah, his body language says otherwise.
Yeah.
So,
and
anyway,
then the last thing was Simon. Simon almost wrecking his knee.
I've not seen this. This is
really?
Exciting. No, this is exciting.
Oh, oops! I am not sharing my screen. Let me share my screen. Sorry.
Yeah, give some to us too, mate.
Yeah. Let me go back. There we go.
Oh. Oh.
And he birdies it.
Yeah.
Does he?
Puts
I
it to 20 feet.
I mean,
look where he lands.
Yeah.
This is where he lands, like right next to the basket.
I mean, Kevin Jones did fall over and he aced it. So,
true.
Not quite as good, but hey.
True. He did. That's not, but for some reason, the people that slip over seem to do quite well in that situation.
Yeah. But
yeah, I mean, that was Waco. It was quite interesting.
And what about the FPO? Do we have the scores there?
So FPO, I only watched a little bit about it, so I don't really want to comment too much. But Kristen's
taking it out.
She took it out, and followed by Holland Hanley.
And same as you, Blakey. She was 1,016 event.
Wow.
Average.
Yeah.
Yep.
So, there's a little comparison for you, little stat.
That's a big field as well. Look at that.
It is.
Was it 58?
Let me see. Helena Bloomrose. Man, a lot of people were playing quite well. The score separation was actually quite. If you're looking at the rounds, wow. Okay. I wish I watched more to comment more on that. But I didn't. Benny.
So anyway, if anyone on the chat seen it, then throw a comment in.
Throw some comments about what watched it. So
if not, we'll move on to our next segment, I suppose. And I'm bringing up the topic of sandbagging.
Oh, this is a good one.
So, like with our, I suppose, Australian rating system, we have the PDGA guidelines, for certain amateur divisions all the way to pro. And the Australian rating system is, let's just say it's under a little bit more. So I don't think they really count. So like, let's just say me, for example, I usually play MA2, sometimes MA1, depending on where I feel I'm confident at the time. But I could play MA3 because I'm 893 rated or whatever it is. But that would be considered a massive sandbag. But in America, it's just standard. Like they'd be like, what are you doing playing in MA2 for? You should be in MA3. You know what I mean? So like, where in Australia is the sandbag? Where do the bags of sand come from? And when do we start throwing at people?
I got a comment here before. So when I first started playing disc golf, people were more open about the sandbagging. You'd literally get on a podium, and people would scream in the crowd when you're on the podium and be like, "Sandbagger!" And I'll be honest, I got this bad because me and my mates played 2-3 times a week for years and years, probably about 5 years, and then we started playing tournaments. So I came straight into MA4, and I beat the MA2, all of the MA2 players with my MA4 score, and I was sandbagger. I didn't even go to MA3. I went to MA2, and then won all the MA2 events that I played in, sandbagger, sandbag, sandbar. We don't get that anymore. People don't call sandbaggers out. I think it's just too, people are too scared to. I think these days everything, it's a bit more appropriate.
Maybe on the western side, but on the eastern side, it's prominent.
Is it?
Yes.
You'd think the opposite, considering what we're like.
That's why I've made this segment. It doesn't even exist over there. I'm talking to two Westies here.
No, we don't see it here anymore. I wish we did, because we have so many people in MA3 and MA2 at the moment who should be in MA1. And we also have a lot of MA1 players who should be in MPO.
Okay, so what's this should then? Like, let's find this line. Let's get it closer to where this line is.
There's no real line though. That the ratings, the minimum rating scheme, like you were talking about, Ben, I have as a TD had to force people to go into different divisions because of their rating. In my opinion, that should never happen. You should be going there way before that.
As in red flagged as a TD, or like
no, they're not red flags. So
technically they can go in there, is what I'm saying.
So MA4 player was 845 rated. I had to say to him, you can't be in MA4. You need to be in MA3, and then you have to have that conversation with them, and then them go to MA3, and that's all fine. It's if they want to play the event, they have to. But in my opinion, people who are 845 rated, they should have been in MA3 a while ago.
Yeah, 100%.
As a person, I always want to play up. So I want to be playing with people a lot better than me, so I can pull myself up, up.
Yeah.
Blake's probably sitting here hoping he could probably say the same, but there's just no one, because he's one of the best in the country. But that being said, like, there's so many MA3 and MA2 players who are just staying there. And I'm not going to name names, obviously. I don't want to do that. But
would they be doing that for tour points because they want to get a mini or something at the end of the year? Like,
that's a good point. I never really thought about that. I think people stay in maybe just for tour points because they know that's a division.
What do you win in the Western Australia tour?
Blake?
Western Australian tour.
What do you guys win over there? Like, do you win something decent? Like
notoriety? And I think
enough for people to like sandbag.
Actually, no, I didn't win.
I think it's a trophy. The WA Tour is a trophy, and I believe possibly a gift voucher. I think it's the win on every single division. So the win gets something, and then I believe that the second or third gets like a what's his name, gift voucher or something like that. It's not huge, but for notoriety purposes, it is. Look, I never thought about that, but you're right. Like, with these tours, people are looking at them, and I do know a lot of people in the MA3 and MA2 player base who are like, they know that they can win that tour based on that in that rating, and they may just not go up, because if they go up, then they're sacrificing their MA2 scores for that year. So maybe they wait to the next year to do that, and that slowly takes people. I don't know, but I definitely think that there's so many people who should go up. And Blake, you could comment more. In the US, I believe anyone that's like kind of 940 rated, 930 rated MPO, like 930 up, really.
In America or here?
In the US.
It's I don't know. It depends where you are, really.
I agree.
In the US, I guess you'll find 950 rated players still playing in advanced, and that's fine. You'd kind of expect that, but it depends maybe what state you're in, and but then anywhere past say 965, that's when you start to get to your local pros in the US, and that's just kind of they play your local C tier in C tiers in MPO. But then, here in Australia, we see people really step up to MPO as soon as they can. Some stay in MA1, which, I mean, that's what you were just talking about. But then we're starting to see a lot more people actually make that move. So now MPO is full of there's a lot of fresh faces in MPO.
That's good.
Now, and they're starting to make that move at about the 930 mark.
Well, that's good that you
I was gonna
say that,
say.
because that was exactly where I went to MPO. I mean, I'm not there now. I went back because I had kids, business, and all that stuff, and I don't have the time for that anymore. But I went to MPO at 9:35, played there. I played in MPO 3 or 2 times, and it was like mid-pack. I was not in contention for winning. But I know at the time I was like, this is giving me a baseline to get somewhere. And obviously things get busy, and I didn't have the time to practice and get better. So later down the track, as my rating got worse, which I think it's like 9-10 now, I've just gone back to MA1 because I play more of a casual golf. But at 9:35 was where I moved, and I felt like that's where I should move. So it's good that, that players are moving up. And do you feel like the MA1 players are moving up like as they should?
I think so now, like definitely. I know at least in MPO, sorry, not in MPO, in WA.
Yeah.
Now it's fresh bunch of faces in MA1. They've all moved up from MA2. Everyone over the past years basically shifted up a division, which is really good to see. Another thing that I just want to raise, Cassie just made a comment about it. Courses, different courses and different length courses. So, and that's a whole different kind of wormhole with
thing.
score separation and whatnot. But it's a good example though. Like if you have say a 930 rated player, they can play in open and compete with, I guess, almost the top players in open on those shorter courses, on those local C tier courses. But then we go to those championship courses where there's that separation, and they're just not even going to have a chance. So that's when they're going to drop down and play in MA1, and where they actually have a chance of winning. So I guess the course actually has quite a bit of. There's so many factors, which
it does.
We can write that down for another episode for sure.
For our championship courses like Mundaring, Pine Lines, the 2 courses, the amateur and then the pro courses, are quite a bit different. They would probably be about 40 to 50 PDGA stroke different. So I can understand where like an MA3, wherever the cutoff is, an MA3 or MA2 player who doesn't want to go play that harder course, they're not going to jump up to MA1 because that might be too much for them just for the time being. So I never really thought about it that way, which is a good point. Thanks, guys.
Back to hang on real quick. Back to Ben's question of like, where do we draw that line of when are you a sandbagger? It's another thing that's dependent on plenty of things. But I feel like if you're staying in a division for the sake of the tour, and as long as you're not smashing that division every single week, I feel like that's okay. You have a goal in that division, and then you move up. But then if you're someone who doesn't care too much about the tour, which I feel like is actually probably the majority of people, because there's not too much of an incentive for the whole tour thing, then you're playing in the division that's best suited for you. And once you're competitive in that division, once you get a win, that's when you should be moving up.
I agree. The win.
So do you reckon the 1 win, or do you reckon 2 wins, or
1 or 2?
Depends what the competition was kind of like. If you feel like you played crap for your level and won, that you definitely have to move up.
Yeah.
But if you brought out your best disc golf and won, maybe stick around
one stroke,
for another
like just
one
stroke, it was tough.
Yeah, if you just win and it was good competition, and maybe that person who came second didn't bring their A game, and now you're going to have a battle at the top, that's when you stay. But I feel like if you just feel like you're too good for your division at any point, you definitely should be moving up. Like, everyone wants to play in a division they know that they have a chance of winning in. But if you look at everyone in your division and think, oh, I'm better than them, you shouldn't be in that division.
It's true. That's a good point. Like, if you're going to a course and you played a crap round and you won, like, you should be moving up immediately. So
yeah. Well, I know for myself, if I'm playing on a course that I've played a few times and I know it, MA1. But if I'm going to like Adelaide or Queensland or something, I'll definitely go on MA2, because I'm just like, the locals are going to be good at that, so that's where I'll be competitive.
That's another good point. Kai, I was just mentioning, Kai, you asked a question. I believe, in my opinion, 1 or 2 wins in that division is starting to show signs of you moving up. But like Blake said, if you're just winning and you've won twice and you don't really feel like there's 2 or 3 people in that division where you could probably still get beaten by, then I understand why people feel like they might not want to move up just yet. Because going to that next division, you've got probably entire half of that field who are better than you. It's generally like that. So
you don't want to be just chilling in the bottom half for like a whole season either. So
no. So. We've got some comments rolling in as well. I just wanted to share some. So we've got if you're constantly in the top 3, not winning, someone blinder, almost always mid-pack grade, you're a sandbagger. And we got Adam Stewart. Might be coming a little early. I want to get Blake thoughts on. Oh, here we go. On Sizzler advanced layer and winning score of 18 rounds, where previous winning scores were high 20s to low 30s. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Well, so the course, the difference on that weekend was that
the course was definitely different. I had a chat to Dan Frost. I know he had quite a bit to do with, I guess, the layout and a lot of the ACT Disc Golf Club. Obviously, Adam as well. Yeah, I mean, I guess answering your question, I was actually a big fan of the layout. It was the first time I've played Western, and I guess whenever you play a new course, you're kind of like, all right, that was pretty cool, and especially if it's tough like that. But having a chat with Dan and looking at the coverage from previous years, the changes made, big fan. Absolutely, definitely. I like those more challenging courses. There's more separation and instead of just a birdie bash. I think birdie bashes are cool for these C tiers, but then especially, I guess, the higher divisions, I think people want to play these really challenging courses. And I guess for most of the MPO division, par was the benchmark. Like that's kind of...
Was it really that hard?
Well, you're aiming for... Yeah, well, there was... I think there was 6 players under par out of 25.
You're right. If I look at this here, you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So
5 players under par.
And Tim Bohan, he's no slouch, and he got even. So that's that. I know what you're saying now. Like that would be tough.
Yeah, I mean, I never got to experience Western Park beforehand, but coming and playing the advanced layout that we had in place for the Sizzler, I gotta say, I'm a big fan, and I know it was a bit of a trial for nationals in 2026 next year. And I mean, sure, maybe a couple tweaks here and there. Couldn't name them to you right now, but I think definitely heading on the right track, and big fan of the layout.
Awesome.
Cool.
Was the score, just one quick last question, was the course distance difficult, or was it gaps and obstacles?
It was quite long. People have said to me like, "Oh yeah, when you play Western, you'll smash it because it's just long and you're actually throwing drives." But it has got a good mix of everything. It's got gaps, it's got elevation, distance. You really have to control your angles as well, and your landing zones is also a big part. So it's kind of a good mix of everything.
Awesome. We've just got some comments saying also similar. That was a brilliant course. I haven't played it, so it was good to hear from you guys about it. On that as well, we just want a shout out to Reese Wasinski's dad. He's running the Sefton Sesh, which is a new course, I believe, over in New South Wales.
Andrew Wasinski, or Wiz.
Yeah, but that's yeah. Do you just call it? Does everyone just call him Wiz?
Yeah.
Right. Okay. Yeah. I know Wiz Disc, but that I just figured it's just because of their last name, Wazinski. So, but yeah, bit of a shout out to that. So if anyone's around in that area, I believe they're going to be holding quite a few. I think they're doing a fundraiser of some sort. So check that out. There's quite a few things on the socials about that.
Wish I was good enough to play that one, but I'm still recovering. So all these new courses are opening up. I'm like, damn it. So do we want to finish up with the game? Do we have the time for the game?
Let's do it.
Now, for those who've watched who haven't watched previous episodes,
I'm gonna be so bad at this with yours. Like seriously,
that's why I'm doing them.
I know.
So, for an example, last week we had 2 under par as the clue.
The clue.
And the American pro was Eagle McMahon. 2 under par, Eagle. Okay, so now that everyone else in Australia who's watching knows, let's get into it. So the first one on my list is neck follow.
What? Did you say neck follow?
Neck follow. And anyone in the comments, if you've cracked it, let us know. If not, I'll move on to the next one. Neck follow. And I'll even spell it out for you. N-E-K.
Okay, all right. N-E-K.
N-E-K follow.
Oh, can I just have? Am I allowed to have?
Yeah, go.
Yeah, go for it.
Nico LaCastro.
No.
Okay.
No. Let's think reverse.
Reverse.
Yeah, opposite of fall. It's Ken Climo. Well, sorry, Ken Climo. Neck is opposite of Ken. And
oh my gosh,
Climo. Anyway, next one.
Okay.
Okay, there's double trouble, all right? This is double trouble. 2 American pros that make undies.
Is this for real?
No, 2 of them form undies. Let's put it that. If you put 2 names together,
they form undies.
They form undies.
Okay. Oh, Tanise she's here. She's really good at this. Come on, please help us. 2 of them form undies.
Yeah. And here's one for the viewers while they're thinking. I should have.
Let's say Lex.
No, it's meant to be a Y.
Yex.
No, I should write it the other way around. So it actually says L-E-Y. All right? L-E-Y.
What? Bro. This is so... You are so cryptic. I've told you this last time. I would be like visual clues.
That is a visual clue.
Is it?
It's a visual clue.
L-E-Y.
Yeah. Lay. Ah, Cassie got it.
What? How?
Handley?
Oh yeah, no, that's.
Oh my gosh.
Hey, people are getting it. All right.
Every time someone gets it, I'm like, how? Am I just like not on the same spectrum or something? Like, what is happening?
Okay, the double trouble, 2 American pros. All right.
Do I want to give people a little bit more time?
Undies. All right.
Undies. So two people make undies.
Yeah. Two names make undies or form undies.
I see what you're saying.
What's Kai saying? I can't see it on my screen. I don't want to touch my computer.
Is it large? What? Benny.
Glen,
what? Large Glen 20? Like is in the spray can?
Is that because they're coming out clean? Is that what's happening?
I think you need disinfectant. I think that's what he's saying. You're talking so much shit. You need Glen 20 here. Oh, I don't have it, man.
Okay. Well, we could leave it to the comments, or I could. I can't see that. What's Daniel saying?
Calvin and Kyle.
Yes. Calvin Klein.
Calvin Klein and Kyle.
Yeah. Yes, Dad. My man.
Oh my gosh, I can't believe that. See, this is what I'm saying. When someone says it, I'm like, what? How did you? What wavelength are you? I guess I'm on the show and people at home just chilling.
He's on my wavelength.
He is. So
is Cass. It's all people that I know well. They know my brain.
I know, but I know your
Get to
brain
know me
well,
better,
and I know.
Reese. Get to know me
I know.
better.
I think what happens is I start thinking like hemp bed sheets and like lemongrass and stuff like that.
Not brand
I,
names.
I go so far I go too far wavelength past. I don't think. Yeah, I should probably this. Oh, someone got this. Oh no, that's not a Wysocki. Okay, that's a
definitely
stock,
not.
bro.
I don't put socks on my. You know what?
What
To cover
everyone,
them.
I need to let everyone know that even though it doesn't say on Ben's Facebook page, it's his birthday today. It's not. We've got this inside joke where Daniel, he's saying it, couldn't miss your birthday. He called Ben's birthday not on his birthday, and everyone followed up. Oh, happy birthday, Ben! For like, there must have been 10 people following up, and then Ben's like, it's not my birthday, and Dan's like, suckers. So now anyone has a birthday, we just say happy birthday, Ben, as well.
Yeah.
There we go. Cassie said it.
There we go. That's my 84th birthday or something.
It is, yeah.
Anyway, guys, let's wrap this up. Thanks, Blake, for coming on the show, mate. You're a good fill-in. I think James should hand in his resignation.
Yep.
Hand
in about 2.5 feet shorter as well.
Yeah. If anyone doesn't know, like and follow us on wherever.
Facebook, YouTube, wherever this is on. Like, follow, all the comment, do all the things, because it helps. We're not looking for us. It just helps promote disc golf, because obviously that's what we're talking about here in Australia. More people talking about disc golf in Australia equals more promotion, and however we can do that. And if there's anything you guys want to share on here, like hit us up in messages, me, Ben, Sasquatch, and let us know if you've got anything you want to share or even want to come on the show to talk. And we're more than welcome to interview anyone. So if you've got any ideas, just let us know.
Give us some content, people. Give us some content. Oh, that's trippy.
Whoa, Benny.
Okay, let's stop that now.
All right.
Thanks, everyone.
Right, people, thank you very much.
Thanks, Blakey.
Thanks, Blake.
Take
Have
it
a good
easy.
one.
Thanks for having me.
See you guys.